Ruby Nell Bridges was born September 8, 1954 in Tylertown, Mississippi. When she was 6 years old, her parents responded to a call from the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People and volunteered her to participate in the integration of the New Orleans school system. She is known as the first African-American child to attend an all-white elementary school in the South. On November 14, 1960, a 6-year-old Bridges, escorted by 4 gun-toting U.S. federal marshals, walked past a screaming mob of angry white people to do the unthinkable in New Orleans at the time: go to school with white children. As soon as Bridges got into the school, white parents went in and brought their own children out. All but one of the white teachers also refused to teach, while black children was enrolled. Only Barbara Henry from Boston, Massachusetts, was willing to teach Bridges, and for over a year Miss Henry taught her alone, as if she was teaching a whole class. The first day Bridges and her adult companions spent the entire day in the principal's office. The chaos of the school prevented their moving to the classroom until the second day. Every morning as Bridges walked to school, one woman would threaten to poison her. The next morning my mother told me she couldn't go to school with me. She had to work and look after my brothers and sister. "The marshals will take good care of you, Ruby Nell," Mama assured me. "Remember, if you get afraid, say your prayers. You can pray to God anytime, anywhere. He will always hear you." The Bridges family suffered for their decision to send her to William Frantz Elementary. Her father lost his job, and her grandparents, who were sharecroppers in Mississippi, were turned off their land. She has noted that many others in the community, both black and white, showed support in a variety of ways. Some white families continued to send their children to Frantz, despite the protests. A neighbor provided her father with a new job, and local people babysat, watched the house as protectors, and walked behind the federal marshal's car on the trips to school. As we walked through the crowd, I didn't see any faces. I guess that's because I wasn't very tall, and I was surrounded by the marshals. People yelled and threw things. I could see the school building, and it looked bigger and nicer than my old school. When we climbed the high steps to the front door, there were policemen in uniforms at the top. The policeman at the door and the crowd behind us made me think this was an important place. All day long, white parents rushed into the office. They were upset. They were arguing and pointing at us. When they took their children to school that morning, the parents hadn't been sure whether William Frantz would be integrated that day or not. After my mother and I arrived, they ran into the classrooms and dragged the children out of school. From behind the windows in the office, all I saw was confusion. I told myself that this must be the way it is in a big school. Another problem that year was lunchtime at school. I often ate in the classrooms by myself, while Miss Henry took her lunch break with other teachers. The marshals sat outside while I opened up my lunchbox. As time went on, I wouldn't eat. First I blamed it on the fact that my mother fixed too many peanut butter sandwiches. Then I began to wish that I could go into the cafeteria. I was convinced that kids were there. I began hiding my uneaten sandwiches in a storage cabinet in the classroom. In my magical way of thinking, not eating lunch would somehow get me into the cafeteria. Bridges herself couldn't understand the anger directed at her until much later, when a boy told her he couldn't play with her because she was black. Ruby changed the world for everyone, even though at the time she did not know what segregation was and why so many people would yell at her and call her names. By going to school, she made our world a better place.